I will echo Director Reed's comments. As a person who, my mother is Native American and Hispanic and experienced segregation, I taught in Bureau of Indian Education schools that were previously boarding schools. Those were the most segregated, detrimental schools for the Native American community and stripped their identity. Using the word segregation is a false equivalency and is categorically false. My mom experienced segregation. Director Reed's mother experienced segregation. We had Brown versus the Board of Education to desegregate schools. Having mentorship programs for students of color and of every identity helps that student get what they need to succeed, which you learned about tonight. And being a good ally allows you to recognize when I need to allow people space to talk amongst themselves and to be able to process their experience, and when I invite myself. So for example, in high school, I was in the American Indian Student Association. And that was a space where I got to learn about my identity, and I also was able to share my concerns where I was having struggles. It was never exclusionary. We invited students into our group, but we also held space for us just to talk and to be able to say, you know what, this is hard for me. You know what, I'm having this experience where, I don't know how to talk to this teacher because they're talking about something that feels really racist or detrimental. We were able to talk and collaborate with an advisor, and we invited folks in, right? That's being an ally. I was invited in high school to go to the Black Student Union. I am not Black. I was a good ally. I went when I was invited, and I also held space for the Black students to talk about their Black identity because I'm not Black, and they have a different identity than me. So I am helping educate folks to understand that this idea of mentorship for students most impacted is required for those students to be able to be successful in school, and students are allowed to come. But I haven't heard from one single student that's saying, I really need to go to that meeting where all of the Black students are right now. Because they understand they need to have some space to talk about their identity. We all have to be able to understand ourselves to be able to be successful and to understand the barriers in our system so that we can overcome them. And the last thing I'll say on this is that equity is in federal law, state law, and the Every Student Succeeds Act. It's part of the Washington School Improvement Framework, which is how we keep schools accountable. Part of federal and state law is that we look at every single group of students, program, race, everything, and then we do what we did tonight where we say, wow, we're overrepresented here, we're underrepresented here. What's going on there? And to Superintendent Murphy's really good point about the auto shop, right? By looking at the 10% that you used there, it doesn't take anything away from the 90%. All boats rise when we look at how are we not serving that group of students well, because those interventions that we put in place to help those students help everyone. So one of those, for example, is the investment in social emotional learning and social workers that we've done with ESSER funds. And that is one thing that I'm going to advocate that we keep, because I've heard overwhelmingly from parents, both those impacted by poverty and those not, because guess what? Everyone has issues with social emotional learning and trauma and mental health. I've heard them say, thank you so much for the social worker. This is the first time that I've had that, and that's white, affluent parents, that's parents in poverty, it's every single person, right? So that intervention that was specifically designed for those students who are struggling is supporting everyone. And we will always meet every kid and family exactly where they're at and serve them. So I'm gonna stop with that. I just wanna say, please consider what it feels like to be a person who has experienced in your family segregation, and then to invoke that word, because it is irresponsible. Thank you.